Welcome to Archilingua.
The podcast that helps you master English for the world of architecture. I'm Alec.
And I'm Zia. This is our third episode, and we're really excited to be back.
We are. We've been getting some fantastic feedback on our first two episodes, so thank you to everyone who has liked, commented, or sent us a message. It really helps us shape the content. Today, we are going to talk about how architects talk to one another.
That's right, Alec. It's a totally different ballgame. Client presentations are often polished and formal, but internal communication can be messy, chaotic, and wonderfully creative all at once. It's where the real magic happens.
Absolutely, Zia. In our last episode, we talked about presenting to clients, which is all about external communication. Today, we're turning the focus inward to the engine room of any project, the design studio itself.
It really does, so please keep it coming. Today, we're diving into a topic that's fundamental to every design studio. How do architects communicate in the office?
Right, and it's not just about technical drawings or emails. The day-to-day verbal communication in a studio is unique. It's a very dynamic environment. It's a topic that's often overlooked. You can be a brilliant designer, but if you can't communicate effectively with your team, ideas get lost and projects can go off track. It's the soft skills that really make a studio successful.
It is. It's not like a typical corporate office. There's a constant flow of ideas, critiques, and collaboration. It's fast-paced, and you need to be able to jump into a conversation, understand the context, and contribute effectively.
Exactly. A lot of communication happens on the fly, often around a desk or a model. It's about more than just giving instructions. It's about collectively developing an idea. And for non-native English speakers, this can be quite challenging to navigate.
You have different levels of seniority, different disciplines, all working together. The language can be informal, full of specific jargon, but the stakes are high. A small miscommunication can have a big impact on a project.
That's the core of what we want to explore today. The unspoken rules, the common phrases, and the general flow of how architects talk to each other to get a project from a concept to a built reality.
So let's imagine a typical mid-project scenario. We're working on the facade details for a new museum. I might come over to your desk with a sketch.
Okay.
I'd probably say something like, Alec, have you got a minute? I want to walk you through a design idea for the curtain wall.
Right, and my first step would be to understand your design intent. What's the core concept you're trying to achieve? Is it about transparency, materiality, or something else?
Exactly. So we talk it through, and maybe you see a potential problem with the structural support.
Yeah, I might flag an issue with the mullion size. I'd say this looks great, but I think we might have an issue with the structural loads here. The engineering drawings suggest a thicker profile.
This is where that collaborative dialogue is so important. It's not a criticism, it's a collective problem-solving moment. We need to be on the same page with the engineers.
Of course, so we'd probably decide we need to hash something out. Maybe we grab a junior architect and some trace paper and spend half an hour sketching over the plans to find a solution.
And during that process, a senior partner might walk by. They're not involved in the details, but they need an update. They might ask for a ballpark figure on the cost impact of our new idea.
A ballpark figure, yes. We wouldn't have an exact number, but we could give a rough estimate based on experience.
Later that week, we have a more formal check-in. We'd probably need to pin up our work on the wall for a team review.
Right. This is where a design crit happens. It's a bit more structured. The project lead will look at the drawings we've pinned up and give feedback.
And the way that feedback is delivered is key. They might take a red pen, and this is where we get the term to redline a drawing. They're not just correcting mistakes. They're adding suggestions, asking questions, and marking up areas for further development.
Totally. It's a visual conversation. And let's say we hit a major roadblock. The client changes their mind on a key feature, and we have to rethink the entire entrance sequence.
So with these red lines, we have our marching orders. But what happens when the feedback isn't just a red pen on a drawing? What about digital communication? So much of the workflow now happens in software. that's when the team might call for a charrette.
Exactly. An intense, focused design session. We might all get together in a room for a full day, order in some food, and not leave until we have a viable new direction. It's high pressure, but often where the best ideas come from.
It really is. That process of constant, open communication, from the quick chat at your desk to the formal design crit to the intense charrette, is really the engine of a design studio.
That was a good example of how a conversation can flow. Let's break down some of the key phrases we used. Do you want to start with the first one?
Sure, the first phrase was to walk someone through a design. This simply means to guide someone through your idea or proposal step by step, explaining your thinking as you go. It's an invitation to review your work together.
Right. Next up was design intent. This is a really important concept. It refers to the core idea or principle behind a design choice. It's the why behind the what. Understanding the design intent helps the team make decisions that are consistent with the overall vision.
Then we had to flag an issue. This means to point out a potential problem or concern that needs attention. It's a proactive way of highlighting a risk before it becomes a bigger problem.
And once you've flagged an issue, you need to make sure everyone understands the situation. That's where the phrase "to be on the same page" comes in. It means to have a shared understanding of a situation or a goal.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not on the same page, you need to hash something out. This phrase means to discuss something in detail, often to resolve a disagreement or a complex problem. It implies a collaborative and sometimes intense discussion to find a solution.
I like that one. It feels very active. Next, we mentioned a senior partner asking for a ballpark figure. This is a common business idiom. It means a rough estimate or an approximate number, not a precise calculation.
Useful in so many situations. Then we had to pin up our work. This is quite literal in architecture. It means to attach your drawings or sketches to a wall or board for review and discussion by the team.
The pinup often leads to a design crit. Crit is short for critique. A design crit is a session where design work is reviewed and constructive feedback is given. It's a core part of the architectural education and professional practice.
And during a crit, a senior architect might redline a drawing. This means to mark up a drawing with corrections or comments, traditionally done with a red pen. These red lines become a guide for the next set of revisions.
Perfect. And finally, we used the word charrette. This is a term for an intense period of design or planning activity. It's usually a collaborative session where a team works together under pressure to solve a design problem quickly.
And that's our 10 phrases. We hope those explanations are helpful.
So that brings us to the end of episode 3 of Archilingua. We've covered a lot about how communication happens in a design studio.
We have. It's a complex dance of formal and informal interaction, technical language, and collaborative problem solving. We hope this gives you a bit more confidence to participate in those conversations.
And remember, you can find a full transcript of this episode, along with the vocabulary list and definitions, in the description below. It's a great resource for review.
We'd love for you to subscribe to Archilingua so you don't miss our future episodes. Please also feel free to leave a like or a comment. We want this to be a safe place for communication, where you can ask questions and share your own experiences.
That's right. Your engagement helps us build this community.
Join us next week for our next episode, where we'll be tackling a closely related topic: how to speak confidently in architecture meetings.
Until then, thanks for listening.
Bye for now.